Hello friends, welcome to my channel Fusion Next Gen Learning. If you're first time viewer on my channel, subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon to get latest update from Fusion Next Gen Learning. In today's demonstration, we are going to cover one more new feature which is coming into 24B. There is a new Redwood theme designed page introduced within the product which you can utilize in order to create your item transaction defaults. So basically, item transaction defaults will help you in order not to manually enter subinventory locator detail while creating several transactions, such as creating a receipt. So while creating a receipt of the delivery, you don't need to enter the subinventory and locator. If you have created the item transaction defaults, it will drive for that particular item. If you are performing the miscellaneous receipt issue, then also you can use for the shipments, you can use. So there is a new page defined, which is more user friendly and helpful to create item transaction default in a bulk. And that is very useful. You can do easily maintenance activity as well. So there are two provision. So we'll discuss. So earlier, what we have the typical task where from we can default the manage item transaction default. So we'll talk about. So if you go and click on the search, so manage item transaction, and if I search the task, so manage item transaction defaults. So this is the typical UI where from you are defining earlier. So this UI will be there. But apart from that, there's a new feature which you can utilize and which is more user friendly. I'll walk you through that and how you can enable that also. I will walk you through. So typically, if you try to create new, you have to enter item. You have to select default for which transaction is it, and then submit in the locator. If you have to create multiple defaults, then still you have an opportunity, but this opportunity can be belongs to particular item. So you can just select one by one all this. Now, so these are the typical, the previously used UI. Now, after enabling the features, the new feature, you can make these setups easily in the Oracle Fusion and you can manage. Now, for that, you have to go to the supply chain execution, and within the supply chain execution, you have to go to the inventory management. Once you click on the inventory management, you have to go to the task. And once you click on the task, at the bottom, you will notice that configure item transaction defaults. So once you click, it will prompt new window that is completely based on Redwood theme UI. And if you see that, so you have item transaction default, you have your inventory organization default, and you have actions. Actions will have create by item or create by location. So how you want your item transaction default record to be created, you can choose based on your need. Create multiple. So there is a one button called create multiple. So you can click. Once you click, you have an option create item transactional default.csv. So this file will be downloaded into CSV. So let me click that. What else options? You can search if you have 500 or thousands of record, you can search based on the item, the transaction type, severity, or the locator. Since there is a no records, edit multiple, you can again, once you click on the edit multiple, it will prompt you to this page. If you click on the actions and create by item, then you notice you have this UI. So first you can select your item, then you can select either that for that item all the transaction type or the specific one. Then you have the locations detail where you can populate your subinventory or the locators. So we'll see that from the UI, as well as we'll see that while we do the bulk entry and how to populate the sheet. So for that, I'll enter my item. So I have selected my item over here, and then either I will choose select all, or I can go with any specific transaction type. So currently, item transaction defaults will be supported by the account alias issue, account alias receipt, account issue, account receipt, direct organization transfer, miscellaneous issue, miscellaneous receipt, movement request, receiving, shipping, and subinventory transfer. So these are the transaction type supported by the feature or the Oracle Fusion. So I have selected the miscellaneous receipt. Now I have to enter the location detail. So I will click on the add. Then I have to choose which subinventory to be default. So let's take an example. I have selected the subinventory. So locator, if that subinventory having any locator, then it will give you the locator to be selected. If your inventory organization is non-locator control, then you won't be able to see that. So currently my subinventory or my inventory organization not having the locators. Now after that, once you add it, then there's an option. Now if you click on the review defaults, where you can validate your transaction, over here you can save the record. So if you are changing any data at the line level, like subinventory or the locator, you can save that record, or if you would like to delete that data, you can delete that. There is an option in the action. So once you click on the actions and add it, then you will have, so you can see that any changes you can do to the subinventory, and you can save this. These are the action section. So either you make or you can cancel this action, whatever you are doing the added so far. So I have added, and if I click on save, then the record save. And if I click on the create, it will create an record. So if you notice, I have created manually, and you have an option to the dashboard where you can, or the page where you can see all the items or based on the subinventory default or based on the locator default. So we do have the subinventory default. So this is based on the subinventory default. We don't have any locators. So currently we don't have any data. And if I click on the all, then it will have, all the records. In order to create multiple records, so earlier I have downloaded the sheet. I will download it again. So let me click on the create multiple, and then I will click on the download. So if you notice that the create item transaction defaults.csv got downloaded, I will try to open it. So it's open the file, and within that file, if you notice that we have item, transaction type, sovereignty, and the locator. So what I will do, I will populate all the details. Let me copy all the details. So either I'll go to the UI and will take all the detail. So item number, let me populate the item number. Transaction type. So that transaction type we have to populate. So we'll populate that transaction type and the subinventory. So let me search what is the subinventory. So let's take an example. We do have XXINVFG. So we'll take this as an example. So I have populated subinventory. Now we'll go and take the transaction type. The transaction type is very important. So let me click on create and I will copy exactly the same. So you have to copy exactly same transaction type. If there are any space or any spelling mistake, it won't work. It will go into the error. So let me populate that as well. So if you see that I have populated, since our supplementary will not have any locator, so I'm not populating that. I will save that record. Once I'll save that record, let me save that and I will say update it. Okay. So I have saved that record. Now I'll go back to the UI and let me cancel this and click on the create multiple records. Now there is a drag and drop. So either you can drag and drop file or you just click. You have an option to select your record. So I have selected my file, the updated one. And if you notice that it's got added and loaded. So you can see that the bytes. Now you have to simply click on create. Once you submit, then there is a process. So there is a one ESS job will trigger in the backend. And for checking the status, you can click on the action status. So where you can see that the status is currently coming as a submitted, it will update. So we'll click on the transaction defaults and let me go back to the action status. You will see that it is in error. So what is that error? So you can download. So you can validate the records. What was the error? So you will see that a 70 record for the combination of item transaction type, miscellaneous receipts already exists. So there is a already unique transaction type for that particular item is already exist. So it won't take that. So I have to choose the another transaction type. So this is very good example that if any existing record with the same combinations exists, then it won't take that data. So you have to have the unique records with all the combinations. So let me take the example. Uh, let me take another transaction type. So let me copy this time miscellaneous issue. Now we'll go back to our record. So I'm replacing miscellaneous receipt with the miscellaneous issue. And I've again saved my record. And I'll go back to the UI. And what I will do, I will again try to upload my sheet. So I will click on that and click on update it. And again, I will click on create. So there's a process got triggered. I'll walk you through that the process. So if you go to the schedule process, so schedule process is process item transaction default request. So that is the ESS job will trigger once you click on the create. So we'll go to the action status and we'll see. So now this time it got success. So this is very user friendly where you can see all the status within the UI itself. So you know how many records successfully inserted and how many got failed. If you click on the transaction defaults, will see the records. So for particular item, there is a different transaction type and the subinventory. If I want any changes to the existing record, you can simply select, and either you can click on the edit multiple or create multiple. So if you click on the edit multiple, you have the download. So you will notice that now it's change update item transaction defaults. So earlier it was create. Now this time it's a update. So I'll click on download. Now I will open the existing sheet. So let me open that. So if you notice that there are two new columns added. So new sovereignty and the new locator. So what it means, if any sovereignty you want to be changed for that particular combinations, you can change. So let's take example. I want this sovereignty to be populated for this combination and this sovereignty to be populated for the miscellaneous issue combination. So I have changed, I have populated cross transactions. I will save that record. And this time, let me save this as a update existing so that it makes sense for you guys that I have uploaded which sheet. Once I have done, I will click on drag and drop and I will just upload the file. And once I upload it, then you will see the bytes, the size of the file, and I will click on the update. Once I click on the update, you will see that there's a process got triggered. So I will again refresh and you will see that that is the submitted status. And let me see that. So now you can see that it's running. So I will, now it's succeeded. So process item transaction default request got succeeded. And if I go back and see the status will be success. Now if I go back to the transaction defaults, you will see the changes. So for receipt, it become subinventory as an FG, and for the issue, it become as a RM. So now we have changed interchange the transactional records. So this is how it's makes sense to manage in a more efficient manner your operational, your data in order to expedite your inventory transactions. This is very good feature which you can implement it. Now I'll walk you through how you can achieve it. For that, steps you have to perform. So first, profile option. So Redwood page for item transaction defaults enabled. So that profile option you have to enable. I'll walk you through that as well. Schedule process. So that schedule process will be triggered automatically once you click on the button called create, and the role is required. So that is the duty role. Configure item transaction defaults using responsive inventory duty. So that is the role name, the duty role. You have to provide this privilege to the existing custom role if you have created it. Otherwise, you can create the custom role and you can associate this privilege so that the particular a user will have, whoever having that custom role assigned to it, that user can manage all this functionality. If you entered the existing role, it might be possible that it will leverage the same functionality for all the users wherever they don't need uh, to see any kind of such features, or they are not managing the item transaction default. So you can customize this. I'll walk you through that. So for that, so you have to go to the setup and maintenance. Within the setup and maintenance, you have to go to the task and click on the search. Once you search, then you have to type manage admin profile. So let me search that. So manage administrator profile values. So that is the task name. And I will search the value. So if I populate the profile display value, you will see that this is what the code and this is what the display value. Now at the site level, you have to simply make this as a yes. Once you enable it, then next step, what you have to do, you have to create custom role. Why? That custom role will help you to control the functionality. So let's take examples. Only certain user has to be there. You can just associate or provide leverage this functionality to them only. So for that, let me show you. So you can create any of the custom role, and within the custom role, you can associate your privilege to it. So configure item transaction defaults using responsive inventory and click on next. And in the role hierarchy, you can add the roles and privilege. So within that also you can search and you can click on next and click on next and save and close. So you don't need to do the data security policies and all. Simply you can create custom role, assign that privilege and make that roles to be effective and useful. So this is how you can achieve this in Oracle Fusion and help to your business implement it. Thank you. Thank you for watching my channel Fusion Next Gen Learning. Keep subscribing, keep watching. Happy learning.